back in effect. Well, this time we had to shift cafes, but you know we're always trying to keep the style. We're at the Fook Mall, Pout Inn.
Just trying to change it up a bit, right?
Change it up,
yeah.
But we still keeping it coffee and crypto. That's how we do it in Vietnam. Unfortunately, Mario's not with us because he's in Hanoi, but you know, hopefully we'll see him soon.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff's been happening the past week, though, right? It's like, I mean, the market's been up, it's been down, it's been sideways. You got meme coins popping up. You got a lot of events and news happening.
Started to see a bit of chop in the market. Bitcoin started to cool off by the looks of it, right?
Yeah, it was pretty exciting run up, but yeah, just like all of a sudden, I guess, you know, it can only go up so much before it's gonna go down, you know. But you know, at least it's only cooled off about what, 15%.
Yeah, 50%. It hit 67K again, and then now it's like dropped a bit. Looks like there's like a little bit of sideways action.
Sideways, yeah, that's to be expected.
Yeah.
But you know, what's kind of interesting to me, I was looking at some of the numbers, and you know, I think the ETFs have gobbled up almost, I think if I'm correct, about 4% of the Bitcoin so far. And to me, that's unheard of. They just gobbled up 4% of the Bitcoin.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and,
that's pretty crazy.
And the stuff that's been happening now, with the outflows from the Bitcoin, I think there was like 3 out of all the 9 ETF. They call them ETPs instead of ETF. ETF is a subdivision of ETPs, but you know they have the spot ETPs of Bitcoin. They're one that actually preceded them, which was not an ETP, which was the Grayscale Trust. They were holding like a lot. They were holding like 600,000 Bitcoin at one point. They're now down to 400,000 Bitcoin because what happened is you had, you know, they were charging about a 1.5% fee for their management and their trust. But since the ETFs or ETPs came on board this past couple, 3 or 4 weeks ago, they were only charging about anywhere from like 0.2 to 0.3%. And so you have a lot of these people that had all these, you know, all the big institutional players that, you know, had 50 or $100 million in these trusts. They started rotating into the cheaper ETPs, and you know, Grayscale. That's what's been going on the past couple of weeks, is just shuffling. And you know, then you got Van Eck that came on board, you know, with their ETP, and they just lowballed everybody, and they just said, well, we're just going to cut it to free for the first year. And so now you have people shuffling even further. So you know, but it's I think they up to like a total of a million, almost a million Bitcoin in ETPs right now. I mean, that's just unheard of. Man.
Well, I think Michael Saylor has like 1% of the supply as well.
Yeah, he's going crazy. Yeah, of course, that guy is just like Bitcoin. He's the ultimate Bitcoin maxi to me.
Did you see with the crazy price action as well? At one stage, I think there was like a $55 million sell order on BitMEX, and the price of Bitcoin chewed through the order books, and it went down to $8,900.
Yeah, that was.
But then when you look back on the chart, I couldn't see it on there, so I'm not sure how much Bitcoin actually got exchanged at that price, or what happened.
It must have just been a blip.
Yeah. Because usually you can see those candles, but I didn't see it on the chart, so yeah, it's interesting.
I would have been glad to pick up whatever percentage at that price. Though.
And then, dude, all the bears come in and they're like, "See, look, I told you we're gonna get 12K Bitcoin." Like Capo, he posted a tweet about it. Did you see that?
I stopped following Capo, man. You know, they call him the one of the last things I was talking about on the show was the. I think it was. I think no. We was talking about before. They would start calling him the Jim Cramer of crypto because he was just getting every call wrong the past year and a half. Soon as he said it was going to go down, it was going up. Soon as he said it was going to go up, it was going down. And man, he was just getting hammered and criticized left and right on Twitter. Man, they were just eating him alive. And matter of fact, there was a couple times where he just stopped commenting. He just was getting ate up so bad that he just stopped commenting. He said, "I'm just going to take a break from Twitter."
Yeah, well, that's it, right? I mean, he was horribly wrong for the entire run-up.
There's been a lot of people that's been wrong the past couple years.
Dude, but the thing is, I think he was one of the more vocal ones. But
Yeah.
I remember when Bitcoin was like in the low 30K region, I know a lot of people sidelined in that time. Like most of the crypto people, like most of the people that were in through the bear market sidelined because they were like, oh, we're gonna get the usual cycle. You know, hitting 40K, like this is even I thought at the time, I was like, oh, this is just like the order books are thin and you just need some slightly bullish news that's just going to pump the market and eat through and then you just have a little bit of the market move in that direction. But then I was just like, okay, we're not going to see Bitcoin hit these levels until like October, November this year.
Yeah, I didn't either.
That was me being bullish.
I think everybody got kind of like in the. I actually got like kind of like semi-depressed for a while. Like, man, this is too long for too low. But you've been around. You've been in the crypto market longer than me. It was my first bear market, so I didn't know what to expect. I was just like, okay, it's going to be 1 year. Is it going to be a year and a half? It's going to be 2 years. I mean, what's going on? But yeah, luckily these ETFs got approved, or ETPs, I should say, technically, and then everything went through the roof.
Yeah, I mean it'd be nice to see it cool off for a little bit after this huge run up.
Yeah. I think that will be the safest thing because I mean, you know, if it goes up too fast, you already know it's gonna go down.
Yeah.
You know, I've been in it long enough to whereas I'm comfortable with the 20-30% swings. Like, oh, it's nothing. Yeah, and you know, it's at first it was really scary. You know, not expecting that, not knowing. You know, it's one of the things that they say is bad about crypto is it's volatile. But you know, long run, if you're a long-term investor, it's actually, and you can ignore all the noise. There's no asset that's, you know, of course, if you're talking about like Bitcoin, there's no asset that's even comparable to it in the long term.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Not gold, not silver, not any commodity that you're thinking of. But you know, and that on that same vein, I've been also checking out some of the other commentary about, you know, what's going on with like the U.S. dollar and the treasuries and stuff like that. And you know what they're saying is pretty. You know, of course, Peter Schiff, you know, he's the gold bug, and then there's another lady, her name is Zhang Capital. She's the silver bug. Of course, they have an ulterior motive for what they're saying about the dollar, but there's been like banks that have been warning about the dollar, you know, getting at risk of being, you know, going hyperinflationary. You know, it's actually kind of a scary thing.
I think I was talking to some friends about this recently. I think the reality is when you look at a lot of these Western currencies, we're in a similar position to other countries that have already had hyperinflation. The difference is that you have these governments and militaries that back these fiat currencies that are still strong. And I think with the US dollar, you know, the US is still seen as a juggernaut in the world in terms of power and its military. And all you need is and I think like a lot of people that are super bearish on the dollar and are like, oh, the reign of the US and the US dollar is coming to an end. They think it's going to happen in the next couple of years, but I think it's going to take a lot longer. It's going to take a couple of decades.
Even though you got all this stuff with the BRICS nations, you know, I've been really doing deep dives on this because I'm more of a long-term crypto investor. I don't do no scalp trading, and I don't even swing trade. I'm just like a buy and holder. But you know, even with all these nations, I was looking at some article today. It's like over 30 countries that applied for the BRICS. Even if the BRICS gets their own currency, and you know they start, you know, trading amongst themselves under this currency,
there'll be more money floating in that economy.
There's still China that has, I think they have like trillions in US dollars, so they can't just dump it. I mean, and if you've been in crypto long enough, you know, I was actually forced to understand how all of this mechanics of money and currency works through crypto, you know, and you know, if you dump any crypto, what's going to happen? Yeah, it's going to fall. So China, you know, if you've been in crypto, you understand the mechanics of all of this. China cannot dump all that crypto or that all those dollars at once.
Yeah.
Because it will ruin them. So it's gonna be a long bleed.
They also have their own problems with Evergrande collapsing and stuff.
They
so,
have
they
got all internal problems, of course. A lot of that was kicked off with the COVID, of course.
I was recently for like one of my projects that I'm working on. I was in a hackathon, and part of that being in that hackathon was that we got to do a tour with some of the other teams that participated in it as well.
Okay.
Here in Saigon, and so I met a guy that is running a project, and he's based in China, and I was talking to him about this, and he was just saying that the Chinese stock market is doing really poorly. So people are looking for alternatives for yield. They're looking for other ways to make money, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why you've seen this whole like BRC20 narrative and all of these, the Bitcoin Fi protocols that are being built on top of Bitcoin, and these side chains being built up that are taking off in China.
Yeah.
A lot of that narrative is being driven through China, and that's where CBR20 and BCR20, those things are coming out, and there's a lot of dominance in China for those type of projects. We haven't really seen,
even though some of it's kind of like banned. I guess they're kind of like got like kind of a weird thing, because they kind of tried to ban some of the miners, but there's still some mining operations there, low key, supposedly.
And I think last year there was some stuff going on where they opened up the ability for Chinese companies to be able to operate in crypto, but doing it through Hong Kong. So that was a thing where they've kind of backflipped on their whole stance around that, which is really interesting.
Yeah, there's kind of a really odd dynamic, because I think that Hong Kong was like just shifted hands, and then a lot of people were scared, and then of course I think doesn't Bitfinex still operate out of Hong Kong too?
I'm not sure. I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of these companies are operating, or a lot of these companies that operate in mainland China are operating out of Hong Kong. The entities are set up in Hong Kong.
Interesting dynamic. That's why I say Vietnam is where it's at, because you have a little bit more freedom over here to operate.
Yeah.
For now, anyway.
Yeah.
But it's crypto allows you to move where you want to be, as long as you're not like a miner. I briefly looked at doing mining, and that was one of my fears. And have legalities. It's just like you don't want to be caught up with a bunch of equipment, and it's not paid for yet.
I think
it's outlawed.
Yeah, I mean, not financial advice, but I think if someone was going to get involved in mining, or if I'm not really that interested in it, but if I was going to, I think the best bet is, instead of building your own infrastructure and setting all of that up yourself, is that you find organizations that are already doing it, and then you take positions within them. And I think that's probably the best way to play that, if that's something that you'd be interested in doing.
Yeah, I think the financial way, the only financial way I seen was working within the infrastructure of some of the other outfits. But, they also charge you for the space. They charge you for the space for housing your equipment.
Yeah.
Because those, if you're trying to do that yourself, I think that time frame is gone.
Unless you have deep pockets.
Yeah.
If you have deep pockets, then this is something that you can get into.
It's nothing. Yeah.
It's actually a pretty interesting thing about mining. So I met a guy who's really big in this space, and he invests a lot in mining.
Okay.
And I was talking to him at the end of the last bull market, towards the depth of the bear market, and he was saying basically what they were doing is they run a pretty big mining operation, and they were essentially, at that point, they were very well capitalized. So they were just waiting for when Bitcoin was down, where it was not profitable for miners, when it's was below 20K. I think at that stage, below 22K, it was not profitable for them to mine. So when Bitcoin was down below those levels, usually what happens is, in the bull market, these companies will over leverage themselves, and so they'll take out loans against their Bitcoin to fund mining operations. And then just like all the rest of the industry, once the market starts heading down, these guys become unprofitable, they lose money, and a lot of them go bankrupt. And so what his team was doing was they were just buying up. They were waiting for all these Bitcoin miners to go bankrupt and just buying them all up. So during the bear market, during that time when Bitcoin was below 20, 25K, that was when, I believe 22K at that point was like where it became unprofitable. So anything below that, they were just bleeding money, and they were just waiting there with the cash ready to just buy them out.
Yeah, that's the thing that I noticed about the mining market, was that you had to have good timing. If you didn't have good timing, you were going to be losing your shirt.
Yeah.
You know, you bought the mining equipment at the top, because the way it works is that the mining equipment is priced at the cost of Bitcoin. So if it's high, then the mining equipment is high.
Yeah.
If it's low, the mining equipment is low. So that's what I say, you gotta have perfect timing. If you get it low and you're able to mine at a profit, let's say you get a newer piece of equipment, and a good site that I actually, when I was doing the deep dive, is what to mine, and it'll actually show you what machines are making per day.
Yeah, right.
And it will, you know, you can actually, okay, but the problem with that is it always changes, because the mining difficulty, I mean the difficulty changes, you know, and it's just like, that's when I figured that out, I was like, there's too many things going on. I don't think I want to get into this game.
Yeah. It's you know,
too many moving parts for me.
Yeah, and yeah, though you have to also deal with the infrastructure.
Yeah. Infrastructure,
electricity
cost of the electricity,
and then when the new miners come, when the new mining rigs come online, it becomes unprofitable, right?
Yeah, the new mining equipment will just kill you. I mean, especially if it's way more efficient, you're going to be like, okay, I'm losing money now.
I remember looking into this in 2020. I was learning about it a little bit, and I think during that time there was a switch with the new mining gear that was coming out.
Yeah.
And actually, it was such a big shift in terms of like your mining capability, was that the new rigs in regions that were more expensive to mine because electricity costs were higher, were actually more profitable than the older rigs that were in the cheapest countries to mine. So there was a huge differential when the new mining grew up. So you've got to account for like that technological shift that happens. When that happens, regardless of where you set up, you will still need to have capital available to basically sell your old gear and buy new gear, otherwise you're screwed.
Yeah, that's what I realized. It's like, no, this is not the game for me.
And
I'll just buy and hold.
And then the other thing that was really interesting that was happening as well was, so when China banned Bitcoin mining and all of the hash rate just went overseas.
And all the equipment. A lot of them sold their equipment or either moved overseas too.
Yeah. So and the other thing that was happening was, I was listening to a podcast of this guy that basically helps businesses set up mining operations in the U.S. And what he was saying was his biggest clients in 2020 was actually vertical mining operations, where basically, contrary to what people were like Elon Musk was saying, was that actually a lot of the Bitcoin mining hash rate is actually coming through through renewable sources.
Yeah.
So a lot of like the oil and gas, a lot of the oil refineries and a lot of the fracking operations that happen around is part of the byproduct of those operations is natural gas.
Yeah.
And those natural gas reserves that come out as a result of it, they can't do anything with it because it's too expensive for them to pipe it anywhere. So usually what they do is they just burn it off. They just burn that gas off. But what a lot of these organizations are doing now is they're setting up mining operations. So instead of burning off the natural gas, they're actually using it to power Bitcoin mining farms.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when you have that type of setup and you have that type of capability, then like, you can be really profitable with that. You're not paying for your gas, you're not paying for your electricity.
I'm interested to see what they're going to do in El Salvador. I think they're in the process of getting that set up with the hydroelectric as well. That'd be.
Well, they had the thermal stuff set up already.
Oh, the thermal stuff.
Yeah, so I think that's been operating since 2020,
that's
right?
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing. I thought they were still building it up though.
Oh, maybe they're increasing capacity. That's another interesting one. Like, you know, everyone was talking shit about them for, you know, going and moving on the Bitcoin standard up, like, you know, but
oh yeah,
you know,
they were getting some serious pressure from the powers that be, like the IMF as well.
But no one's talking about them now.
They're way above. Of course, you know, it's a little draconian over there right now with the law, but you know.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, it's, you know, I guess they got rid of a lot of the bad element over there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's just really interesting to see.
Yeah.
But what else is going on? There's a lot of stuff that happened this week.
Well,
I can't even keep up, man. It's just really been just going bonkers.
Yeah, I mean, Eat Vietnam was huge.
Oh yeah.
They, you know, they had Vitalik there. That was an interesting one.
That was an event that I wish I didn't miss. Of course, Mario got to go. Mario was up there. Kelly was up there. Got to film a little bit. You know, I guess they were telling everybody, no shooting, no pictures, no nothing. And yeah, it was like really deep security for him. But yeah, he's the billionaire guy. He's the you know, prized possession. He's the crypto guru.
Yeah,
you got to protect him.
It's yeah, but there's tons of events coming up. The space here is super active. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. There's a lot of.
They got GM Vietnam coming up pretty soon as well. I think it's in June.
Oh yeah, June. So that's going to be another big one. That was a really well organized.
That's a really good event, really big event. They had it at the Tiski Hall.
Yes. Yeah. Pizza Mall.
Nice. Yeah. Really nice. What else? Oh, what about the billionaire lady in
from China in the UK.
Yeah, in the UK, buying up all the properties trying to buy up the properties for 6 years with £2 billion in Bitcoin that they seized from her. Wow, I tell you, man.
Dude, that was crazy. Why would she just take it all in one place like that?
I can't believe that's astounding, man. It's like, dude, I mean, if you're gonna have crypto, you gotta have a little more scruples than that. I mean, you can't just go around converting it all to cash and buying up everything. You're going to raise a lot of eyebrows. Got to be a little bit more savvy than that. That's just.
It was £2 billion. Like that's a lot of money. What's the?
I think that's got to be about 2.5 million. I don't know. The exchange rate was even for a while there about a year ago. Dollar per pound. It was almost even. But you know, for the longest, it's always been. The pound has been like $1.50.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the exchange is now, but it's probably like that was probably
somewhere between $2.5 to $3 billion. $2.5 to $3 billion US dollars. That's just crazy.
Oh my gosh, man! And she said she was a Bitcoin miner. That's the thing. She said she made all that from Bitcoin mining, but I guess it didn't pass the smell test over there. Yeah,
that's insane. So she got arrested.
Yeah,
right?
Well, she actually is convicted now, I believe.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Do you know what it's sentenced to?
I don't know. There's been so many news articles. I can't, like I said, I can't keep up. You know, it's, you know, and there's a lot of stuff happening on the ground. Of course, you guys had a good tech event the other day, crypto, AI.
Yeah.
A lot of big players.
Yeah, we started a meetup just to bring together all the tech people.
There's so many
crypto, startups, AI in Saigon. And you know, the interesting thing about the event was that, you know, I spoke to a lot of people there, and you can see that there's like a hunger for this type of stuff to have these events.
Oh yeah.
I think things got really quiet post-COVID, so it's nice to kind of reinvigorate that again.
I tell you, in September, you know, there was about 3 or 4 events that were supposed to happen, but you know, that's when crypto market was cratering. You know, we went down to like what, 18,000 or 17,000 for Bitcoin in September.
16, yeah.
And they had ETH Vietnam and Hanoi was supposed to be in September. That didn't, or was it September, October? That didn't happen. Was it the Vietnam blockchain event? So one of the big blockchain events didn't happen either. So there's like 3 or 4 events that got canceled within about 2 or 3 week period. But now 6 months later,
here we are.
Everything just skyrockets. Now everything is just happening again. it's just it's just an incredible transformation. Oh, did you see the news about Grab? You know, everybody probably don't know from Southeast Asia, but Grab is the ride sharing app here.
It's like the Uber. It's like the Uber.
Yeah, it's like the Uber of Southeast Asia, man. They're all over. They're in. I've used Grab. You know, it's a phone app. You can have somebody pick you up on a bike. They'll bring a helmet, get on back, or it'll be a vehicle.
Or in Thailand, you can get the tuk-tuk. Some of the tuk-tuk drivers are.
I haven't done that, but I've been to Bangkok and I got in the Grab cab, I should say, and I did it in Singapore as well. Of course, I have my own bike here, so I don't have to do that. But they have, as of about a week ago, they accept crypto for Grab.
Wow.
In Singapore right now. So you can have a digital wallet. You can top up with I think about 3 or 4 different cryptos and utilize that. I mean, yeah, Singapore is just they're really embracing it, man. And matter of fact, a lot of the companies that are even here are headquartered in Singapore, based out of Singapore. Yeah. So yeah, Southeast Asia is definitely where it's happening as far as crypto, man. As far as adoption. That is really big.
I think it's one of those things where we're just seeing less tightening around regulation that just allows more innovation to happen in this region, which is pretty exciting.
I think Mario summed it up one of the times I was talking to him, and I've seen this in some of the literature I was reading. You know, of course it was translated from Vietnamese, but they have a kind of like a unspoken policy here, where if it's not doing any harm, then they don't mess with you. You know, if you're not doing any harm, then you're fine. You know, as opposed to, you know, like if you're in America, where I'm from, if you're taking money out of the big boys' pockets, then they're going to come after you. And that's kind of like the approach that's happening right now with crypto. And, you know, you see them pushing regulation when it's impacting the big banks and stuff like that. But as long as the big banks, as long as BlackRock and Fidelity, they can benefit from it now, then they'll approve it. But other than that, it was kind of like teetering on the edge of actually being canceled. As a matter of fact, I think the spot BTS for ETH are still kind of teetering.
There's some SEC action go. Yeah. But I think the SEC is just clutching its straws at this point. Like,
but they're being contradictory, and that's one of the criticisms I've seen in the spaces, because they approved the
ETH,
the ETH futures.
Yeah.
And futures, you can't have futures if it's not a commodity. So how are they saying it's not a commodity at this point? They're trying to say it's a security all of a sudden because they want to do a spot ETF. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, man. So I don't know. I have no idea what they're doing. But when ETH went to a proof of stake, then they said it was commodity. Okay, you can put it on you can list it as a you could do futures with it. But yeah, I just think that this
I think they're just struggling for relevance, and they're trying to maintain control of a system that they no longer operate.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that Gary Gensler got some sort of political tie or financial tie-ins with this, because he's not making any sense at all.
No.
And you know, he used to be before he got put on. A lot of people in the crypto market were cheering him on. They were like,
he did stuff. Didn't he do like a intro to blockchain at MIT? Like,
yeah, he was. He was. You know, everybody thought he was going to be the man, but yeah, he was. Yeah, he's the man. He was the man to try to throw a wrench in everything. You know, and stifle innovation and stifle advance. But you know, the thing is, you can't. Once you got out of technological advancements such as blockchain and crypto, you really can't turn back the hands of time. You can't shut off the internet. So it's not something that could be stopped. And it could be slowed down here or there, but it's not going to be able to be stopped. It's just you know, and you know more than me because you're a developer. It's, you know, the technology, you can't shut the technology down.
Well, you know, like we talked about before at the beginning, the perfect example of that is when Bitcoin banned mining in China. And so in crypto, there were like, especially with Bitcoin, there was always three main sources of FUD. One of them was just the mining hash rate is controlled by China, and as soon as China bans Bitcoin mining, the Bitcoin network will come down. The other one was like the Mt. Gox money that's going to spew into the market. And then the other one is just like the government coming in and shutting down crypto.
Yeah.
They were like the three big things, I think, from memory of like the main sources of FUD. And, you know, as soon as China banned Bitcoin mining, yes, the hash rate dropped, but then within a couple of months, it was back at all-time high. Back at all-time highs again.
Elsewhere.
So it just goes to show no single government entity can shut this down.
And everybody's got one of those buddies. I have one of my older friends, and I'm gonna share this video with him after we get done. But yeah, he was like the biggest naysayer of mine, and you know, he's an older guy, older school, older way of thinking. You know, he's a finance guy, but you know, he's looking at this from a frame of reference that's like in the past. It's like, oh man, they're gonna shut it down. The government's gonna shut it down. Even today, he just sent me something that the Senate says it's a pump and dump scheme. I said, you know, these guys in the Senate, man, they don't know nothing. And a lot of them are motivated to say it by some sort of financial means. So, you know, you got those two elements. They don't know what they're talking about. How's it a pump and dump scheme? The US dollar is a pump and dump scheme. The Bitcoin is not a pump and dump scheme because there's no way that you can
increase the supply.
Dump it. I mean, you can dump it if you have a lot and you put on a lot on the market. Yeah, you can do that, but you can't increase the supply. Unlike the U.S. dollar, you can increase the supply anytime, and they are. And even though they're supposed to be doing this quantitative tightening with these, you know, raising the rates, they've behind the door they allowed the banks to take on more liquidity through a backdoor way.
The BTFD program.
Yeah,
right?
But that's going to end. So you know, once that, you know, see there's multiple bank and ex-IMF officials that say that the banks are getting ready. There's going to be another couple hundred banks that's going to fail.
Yeah, there's like a lot of regional.
Over the next several months.
I'm not really on top of it, but I have heard some stuff about the regional bank failures.
Because you know, US. SVB, Signature Bank, and I can't remember the third one. They failed a year ago, and it was like over what half was it 500 billion?
Silvergate was the other
Silvergate
one.
was they $500 billion. Just, you know, and then they had to get bailed out, or no, the Fed actually took them over basically. But yeah, just really, you know, ridiculous. But you know, I don't know, man. I have no faith in the traditional system, traditional way of doing things anymore. Just, I think that, you know, crypto is definitely the future, and it's not going to go anywhere. It's just all forward.
Yep, I agree.
And, especially with these new ETPs. I mean, I think that, and we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg because a lot of the financial institutions have not gotten on board yet.
Do you think we're going to get the BlackRock ETF approved this year?
You know, a lot of the analysts, I've been reading a lot of the analysts, they were like at a 60-70% possibility a few months ago, but now because there's been no I think what I've seen today is because there hasn't been any back and forth between the SEC and these institutions about it recently. A lot of the analysts are putting the chances down to like 20, 23%, 25% now.
I mean, generally these stuff get delayed. BlackRock have a track record of like, I think it's like over 90% of the ETFs that they've applied for have been approved. So, you know, they have the track record to get ETFs approved and ETP products ETPs approved,
and they have the people that can, pull the political strings as well.
Yeah, that's exactly
the
right.
key.
That's the key. So, you know, I think it'll be one of those interesting things, because once we get that happen, like, you know, Ethereum's kind of been lagging, you know, price-wise relative to Bitcoin. So, you know, even now in this dump, I was just having a look at the charts. So I think Bitcoin went like 14-15% down in the dump, like from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Whereas Ethereum did 27%, went down 27% in the same move, you know. And it still hasn't hit its all-time high yet.
Still hasn't went up to 40. Was it 4,800 or something like that?
Something like that. 4,800.
That was the all-time high. I'm long on the Ethereum, man. I really think that eventually is going to be out of the top 10. It's probably going to be the biggest gainer.
Do you think? Okay, so we had,
or maybe Solana.
That's what I was just going to ask you. So we had Solana go. Hit $200 in this run up, and like it's just charging ahead, no tomorrow. Do you think, like, what would you put the possibility that we would see Solana overtake Ethereum market cap?
I've been seeing a lot of analysts say it's going to hit 1,000. I believe them. I think it's going to hit 1,000.
We were talking about the 1,000 last cycle.
I think Vietnam is a good barometer for the larger crypto market, and you know, and you know a lot of people that's on the super team here, and they have a lot of development activity here, man, and it's just taking off, man. I just think it's just gonna take off a long way from here, like this. Sounds like an airplane right there. I think it's just going to take off. You know, there's just so many projects that's being launched here, and it's just a lot of activity. And you see a lot of the other blockchains, like Sui just came and they put on a workshop, and they plan on doing the same thing and using the same model that Solana is doing. And where they're having workshops and hackathons and you know, getting a lot of the young developers here interested in the space, because there's a lot of talent here, man. You know, Vietnam is a highly sought after market for IT talent and especially in the Web3, you know, category as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of developers in this area.
Of course, we've got, you know, Axie Infinity, Sky Mavis. You know, everybody knows Axie Infinity that's in crypto, and Sky Mavis is here. One of the first $1 billion $1 billion market cap Web3 gaming operations right here, Vietnam.
Yeah. There's also a lot of VCs in Saigon, in Vietnam, that invest in crypto, like actively investing in this space.
There's a bunch, and I see them all the time. I actually know, I can't think of anybody, but I know a few of them by name, but I'm not gonna name them. But yeah, I meet a lot of them at some of the events as well. And they're just always seeking out, what are you guys doing? Are you doing this? Yeah, they're seeking out projects. They're having pitch-a-thon, or these pitch events too, which I've been to several of those as well. Interesting. Yeah, there's so much in the blockchain space that's going on, man. It's just really exciting. But yeah, that's why I'm in Vietnam, drinking my coffee. Looks like it's gone now, but
should we wrap it up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. I guess we'll see you next time. We'll probably be in the studio next time.
Yeah, we're gonna probably be in the studio next time. Yeah. Try to get some nicer sound quality. Our other co-host Mario is based in Hanoi at the moment, so we will coordinate with him to
do some sort of
video stream with
combination thing going on, video mixing.
Yeah, should be good.
Well, we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.